You know that feeling, right? You buy this beautiful batch of beets, all vibrant and fresh, and then a week later you find them soft and kind of rubbery in the fridge. It's so frustrating. Well, we're going to fix that today. I'm talking about turning that shelf life from just a few days into months.
You know, it all comes down to a little bit of old school wisdom. This quote really sets the stage perfectly. We're not talking about fancy gadgets here. We're talking about simple, time-tested techniques that our grandparents just knew. And the idea that a beet you put away could actually taste sweeter by February? I mean, that's incredible, right? And it's totally something you can do.
So this is really the core of it all. On one side, you've got what usually happens, beets that last maybe a few weeks in the fridge before they get sad. But on the other side, that's the promise, beets that are still firm, still flavorful for months on end. And we're going to show you exactly how to get from here to there.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? Well, it all boils down to two golden rules. And look, getting these right is absolutely non-negotiable. If you skip these, honestly, nothing else we talk about is going to matter. This is the foundation for everything.
All right, rule number one, curing. Now don't think of this as some complicated chore. It's more like you're just letting the beet heal itself. When you trim the tops, you create a little wound, and curing is just giving it some time to form a natural callus, toughening up its skin to lock in all that moisture. And the biggest pro tip here, the one you absolutely cannot forget, is do not wash them. That bit of dirt, that's their natural armor.
And here it is, the second golden rule. And believe me, it is just as crucial. You see those beautiful beet greens? Well, in storage, they are a total liability. They basically act like little straws, just sucking all the moisture and sugars right out of the root. And you can see what happens. Shriveling, rot, even sprouting. So you gotta trim them off. Right away. It's a simple step that makes a huge difference.
Okay, so once our beets are properly cured and trimmed, we are ready for the main event, storage. And the great news is, you've got options. You don't need some perfect, old-fashioned root cellar to pull this off. It's really just about picking the right tool for the job, based on what you've got.
So let's start with the simplest approach. If you've just got a small harvest, and you plan on eating them within a month or so, the fridge is your best friend. Just remember those golden rules, right? They've got to be cured and unwashed. Pop them in a perforated bag, stick them in the crisper, and you'll get a solid 2 to 4 weeks. That's way better than just tossing them in there loose.
But what if you want to go big? What if you want to store them for the entire winter? Well, this is where we get to the real game changer. Because here's the thing. You can create the perfect little root cellar environment with something as simple as a box. Seriously, this makes long-term storage possible for pretty much anyone.
And the process itself is super straightforward. First, you grab a container, a wooden crate, even a sturdy cardboard box works. Then you lay down a base, a couple inches of something dry like sand, sawdust, or peat moss. Next, you just arrange a single layer of your cured beets. Just make sure they aren't touching each other. Then you cover them up with more of that sand or sawdust, and you just repeat those layers. Finally, find a cool, dark spot for it, somewhere between 32 and 40 degrees Fahrenheit. See, it's that simple. And this right here, this is your complete blueprint. I mean, you can see every little detail here, from picking the right container, and notice it says to avoid anything airtight, you need that airflow, all the way to how you layer the beets. And check out those bonus tips at the bottom. This is so important. Avoid storing them near apples. They let off a gas that'll make your beets sprout. This one image is basically your complete guide.
All right, so you've got your box all set up. Now it's time to become a bit of a beet detective. Because even with the perfect setup, it's a good idea to check in on your stash every now and then. Think of this as your simple monthly checkup. Just a quick peek can tell you everything you need to know to keep those beets happy for months to come.
Okay, let's tackle what's probably the most common worry. You open up your box, you grab a beet, and it feels a little soft, a bit rubbery. What's going on?
Okay, 9 times out of 10, the cause is just low humidity. Your storage spot is a little too dry. And the fix? It's wonderfully simple. Just add a slightly damp towel to the box to bump up that humidity. And for next time, just make extra sure they were fully cured, because that tough skin is really your best defense against this.
All right, next problem. This is the one that can cause a little bit of panic. You open the box and find a moldy or slimy beet. Yikes.
So this is basically the exact opposite problem. Too much moisture, not enough air. Your first move, and you have to do this immediately, is get that affected beet out of there before it spreads to its neighbors. Then you need to focus on getting more airflow.
And hey, if things feel a little damp in there, it's probably a good idea to just repack the healthy beets in some fresh, dry sand or sawdust.
And our final troubleshooting issue, sprouting. You open the box and see these little green shoots reaching up. What does that mean?
It's a really simple sign, actually. Your storage spot is just too warm. The beets think it's spring and it's time to grow. So the fix is easy. Move the box somewhere cooler. Try to get as close to that ideal 32 to 40 degree Fahrenheit range as you can. And remember that tip about the apples? The ethylene gas? Yeah, keep them far away from those. So now that you've pretty much mastered fresh storage, let's look beyond the basics for a second, because there are some other really fantastic ways to preserve your harvest, and each one has its own unique perks. It's all about having a full toolkit for your pantry. Okay, I love this slide because it puts everything in one spot. This chart is your ultimate cheat sheet. You can see right away that your sandbox gets you up to 5 months, but if you pickle them, you're looking at over a year on the shelf. It really lets you match the method to exactly what you're trying to do, whether that's long-term storage, convenience, or just pure flavor. And for any of you gardeners out there, here is a fantastic pro tip. Try planting a second crop of beets late in the summer, specifically for storage. Why? Because beets that grow and mature in that cooler fall weather are naturally denser and sweeter. They're just biologically built better for long-term storage. And if you harvest them right after the first light frost, even better.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that you don't need a huge farm or a bunch of fancy equipment. This final thought really brings it all home. A box of sand and a dark corner, that can be enough to feed your family well into the winter. You just have to begin.